What's the server's name?
No server. We're going to have a theory pass. We need a theory pass first.
Okay.
We need to be on the same page, everybody.
Or should people at least start to?
I don't think so. Not yet. Let's do it later on, because I think that it's going to distract from. I don't want people to. If you pause a server, that's okay, but not if it's not paused. If the server's paused, I think it's okay, but not. People start like doing.
Server's paused.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're waiting for you to give the go ahead.
Yeah. So who's not here yet? Okay, so we'll just get going. So up in VSA text. Hi everybody. I'm going to share you a document that you can click on and you can join. Which is what we're going to do today, and I'm going to go through this as simply as possible. So let me know within 15 seconds if you're not in the document. Okay, then we can get back to you. But I'll just move on. So today we're going to go through simple airport procedures and CCIP. The mission is really not about the training is not about CCIP. The training is about airport procedures. But to make the mission flying parts a little bit more interesting, we're going to have a CSIP in it. So, hello, welcome, whoever there was. Grab the link in VSA text and click on it. So page 2, this is a chart from the game, from DCS. Hi, Sugart. Grab the link in VSA text and click on it. Yeah. So this is a chart for Tbilisi, where we're going to train today from the DCS documentation. I've added in red, there's a zone where all our aircrafts are standing today in our training, which is called Apron 5. And those are just like text fields. You see Apron 5 up there on the left. You then have letters, or like X1, X2, etc. in white, in black, like circles. Those are the names of the taxiways. Yeah, that's basically it. And then you see the runway heading and such. Okay, so you've seen these before. Now, why is this important? Well, here's what we're going to try and do today. We're going to try and have some kind of lowest level of self-contained airport order. So I'm happy there's so many of us, because it's going to be chaotic, and that's good. So what I want to do is I want us to be able to get some kind of order, even though it's chaotic, right? So when you're in the cockpit and in the aircraft, it's only the lead that speaks in the open channels. Okay, so if there's two, you're all going to be flying 2 by 2. So we're going to fly 2 by 2. So you're going to have a lead and a wingman. No 4 by 4s or anything like that. And when the lead and the wingman get to the cockpit, it's the lead who communicates on the common channels and tells everybody around him the big, let's say, the big things that happens. So basically, he's going to tell everybody around him that, okay, flight blue, Vigan blue, starting up engines. Okay, why is this important? Why does everybody need that you're starting up your engine? It's going to be 5 minutes before taxi. Well, actually, that's the case, because that means that if somebody is landing, he knows that spot is going to be free in 5 minutes or 10 minutes, right? So he can know that. So what you do is you say Vigan blue on Apron 5, starting up engines. That also means that everybody else around the area knows that you're going to be moving in like 10 minutes or something, 5-10 minutes. So that the whole idea is to convey information that others can use. And the time frame is something like 5 to 10 minutes normally. You don't speak of things that you're going to do more than 10 minutes away. Once you started up your engines, you can speak amongst yourselves on your private channel. Okay, so you don't speak amongst yourselves on the open channels, but on the private channels. And then when you're ready to go taxi, you say, okay, so Vegan Blue, ready for taxiing to runway, and then you see which runway, 31 left. And then you need to add from where through what. So you're going to say from apron 5 using taxiways Delta, Charlie, Echo. So if you follow what I said, you see the red line. So you're going to follow Delta, Charlie, and Echo. That means that everybody who's already taxiing, if you haven't heard it before, because it's somebody else might be taxiing, and if that person said blah 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 taxiing using runways Echo, that person will hear you say that too, and might prevent not a collision maybe, but the case that you're headed against one another. So if that person hears you say something which is completely like crazy, like I'm going to go towards runway 13 on Charlie, well, that's going to be a problem because you're going to meet on Charlie and you might not get around. So try and convey important things which are going to happen in a couple, like 5 to 10 minutes further down in the future, so to speak. Then once you taxi,
I have a question here.
Yes.
I don't understand this. Normally we have a tower, and the tower say,
yeah, never mind the tower. We don't have a tower.
Yeah, it's auto control.
We don't have a control. That's the thing here. We don't have the control. It's self-controlled.
Okay.
So that's the reason.
We tell each other what way we go.
Yes. Yes, we tell each other what we're doing.
Okay.
Exactly.
It's like VFR flight.
It's VFR flights. Exactly. It's VFR flights. It is. That's what the case is. It's a VFR flight. So we don't have a tower. We don't have the luxury of somebody telling us not to collide. It's up to us to do that. The last thing I will say is that you never taxi onto the runway without stopping. So you always stop, in this case, at the end of Echo. And you will, at that point, say Vegan Blue at holding point 31 left for takeoff. And in that case, if somebody is approaching on finals or something and you haven't heard it, that person might say negative, flight Mirage Red, landing shortly on 31 left. Please stand by or something like that. So amongst yourselves, make sure that you don't like obstruct one another. That's really what it is. Don't obstruct for one another. And the same thing once you landed. Sorry, I'm going to go on. I haven't made a picture for this, which I just realized. Once you've taken off and you're in the air, both the airplanes in the same flight are in the air, and both airplanes have the gears entered. So the wingman needs to confirm to the lead that I have entered my gears. Normally, what he says is wingman or Blue 2 gear up. Once it's confirmed that both airplanes are wheels in, the lead will communicate with the airport again and say flight Vegan Blue wheels up, or no, it's not wheels up. Sorry, it's yeah, wheels up. Exactly, wheels up, and turning towards whatever heading you're turning to. And that signals for everybody else that that flight is out of scope. Like you can forget that aircraft, that flight. You don't need to think of Vegan Blue anymore in the airport, right? So that's quite important. So this is for takeoff. It's not too complicated, but you need to get into it, so to speak. You need to get used to it. Questions on takeoff? Comments? Okay, next picture.
One comment, if I may.
Yes, of course.
It's good. It's well. Normally on charts you have exits around the airfield, so you can. Well, most of the time it's at the 4 cardinal points. So you will have a north exit, east exit, south exit, west exit. So what happens usually is for everyone to know that you're outside of the traffic area of the airfield. You can say. If there is no controller saying, okay, call back overhead whiskey. Whiskey is the west exit from the airfield surroundings. So what you can say by yourself is when you're about 5 nautical miles away from the airfield, if you go to a certain direction, you can say, as Robert said, I don't know, like a vegan blue 4 or vegan blue flight, exit whiskey, overhead exit whiskey. That means that you're not in the vicinity of the airfield anymore, and everyone knows that your flight is on top of being outside of the pattern and the approach and departure. You know that they're not in the direct vicinity of the airport. That's useful as well.
Yeah, it is. It is. So basically, just make sure that everybody knows what we're doing around the airport, really. And when you get into that one on next picture, so picture 3. So
I have a
yes.
question here. I didn't get that about whiskey.
Whiskey is the letter for west. If you go west,
okay.
Yeah.
I would like to say like this: must A0, vegan blue, airborne, heading northwest.
Yeah, that's fine.
Thank you.
That's fine. You that's fine. It works. It really works.
Yeah, it's just that people have to know what you're doing. And it's good to say when you exit the vicinity of the airport, so you can say, well, on that case, it's not very relevant because usually on any chart you have exit points. So,
but we're not using those. That's the thing. We're not using those. So that's the reason. Yeah.
But they were actually available on the.
On the AIP.
notepads.
You can get it on the AIP. Yeah.
Yeah.
But, it's on the knee
The
board.
real charts are there. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. They're available on kneeboards, but we're not going to use those. It's going to be too complicated.
Keep it simple. Yeah,
exactly.
Keep it simple.
So that's really, so basically tell people where you are, what you're doing, where you're going. That's really the whole issue here. Also, the red dotted line, that's the line that we're going to taxi today. So keep that in mind. So that's the long taxiway we're going to use today for takeoffs. We're going to use 31 left, not right. Right is closed, as you can see. There's actually a washing area there if you want to wash your aircraft. Okay, picture 3. Now, this is a really oversimplification, okay? I've done this super simple because I've done this several times, and it always gets complicated. And also, we're going to fly different aircraft, and different aircraft have really different, like, unique ways to do this pattern, okay? But this is the pattern. I'm going to write that because I haven't done it. And so what is the pattern? In the pattern, you've got 3 entrances, okay? So you have the main entrance. I didn't write that either. This is like the main entrance. Then you've got the secondary entrance and the third entrance here. Third. So you got these 3 entrances, and I'm going to do them one by one, okay? So if you're in 1, if you're entering by 1, you funnel into that. If you arrive from any of those directions, if you come from like the northwest to the southwest, like any west side, then you go through 1. You need to come through 1. You can't really like do any other option. Now, what I didn't do on this image, I realized that too late, is I forgot about north. And basically what you do in north, I'm going to add it quickly here, is you go to west, right? See, you come from here and you go in like that, okay? So you go around everything if you come from north. But let's skip north for the time being. So you're going to come in from 1 here, from the west. And what is important? That is that once you get to a point on the side of the runway, somewhere towards the start of that, you need to be at 250 knots or 450 kilometers per hour. Okay, so you can't be any faster than that. You can be a little bit slower, but not too slow, because then people behind you are going to get irritated. So you need to be at 250 knots and 300 meters above ground, approximately. Now, as I said, different aircraft have different setups for this, but this is an average that works for most aircrafts in DCS. Okay, so don't take this for like real life scenario, but it works for most aircraft in DCS. And you fly keeping your speed and altitude to a point over here. At that point, you have the end of the runway at 45 degrees behind you. Then you do a turn So you come to the other side, and you actually come out of the turn heading the same way as you did going into the turn. So it's not a heading, but sorry, the same altitude and speed. So you have the same altitude and speed here. You still have 250 knots or 450 kilometers per hour. You don't change that. I'm going to make that a little bit more clear. So you still maintain that here. And then after that, once you get to a point which is somewhere around the middle, and this is where it really gets different, okay, for different aircraft. But when you pass the halfway point of the runway, basically, you're going to slow down. You're going to start slowing down. And once you get to the end of this straight line, which is also 45 degrees from the end of the runway, you need to be at 180 knots and 600 feet, or 320 kilometers per hour and 200 meters, right? So you want to slow down during that stretch there where I have the pink background on the line. And then you perform the turn, maintaining your speed and altitude. So you end up on the final here at that speed and altitude. And if everything is correct, you're going to be at a position where you can actually land straight in on the center line of the runway from this position. The radius is much smaller because the speed is much lower. So since the speed is lower, the radius is much smaller. So it actually, something like this happens. Maybe it's not like 50% on each side. This is all like, you need to feel, you need to train, you need to get into it, right? But try not to be too far from the runway. One of the errors that people do is actually that they I see this many times. And that is they find themselves too far off here, and that's not a good thing. You need to be fairly close to runway. Remember that it's going to be the turning circle here is going to be quite narrow, but not like pulling many G's, but it's going to be like 2.5, 3 G's, that turn. So stay close to runway at all times, but you need to train this, okay? I can't say much more than that. I'm not going to give you specific details. For the Vigans, yes?
Yeah, if you want to use AFT, what is the recommended?
If you want to do yeah, exactly. So exactly, good thing. So if you want to use the Vigan system, the AFK, automatic speed, AFK. Yeah, I would turn it on here. I would turn it on as soon as I get into the pattern. And here comes the trick. And that's why I have it in pink, right? That's why I have the pink a little bit longer than the rest. I would extend my gears here. That's where I would drop my gear.
Normally you would drop your gears on the downwinds.
Depends on the aircraft.
Yeah, but Robert, at that position, if you drop gear, you have 550.
Yeah, which is the speed for dropping the gears.
Yeah, but it's too high speed on the base leg.
But you're gonna, yeah. But the thing is, you're in a turn. So here's the thing: you're in a turn. I've done this several times. So okay, so let's say I did drop a little bit earlier. Let's say drop it here, okay. But the thing is, you're in a turn. So you're already dropping speed with AFK and everything, and you're also dropping gear. So you're going to end up and slow down progressively to the landing. Try it. For me, it works. Okay. The risk is that if you drop it here, if you drop it too early in the Vigan and you're on AFK, if you, let's say you drop it here like you do in the, like, I don't know who was that said that. Let's say you drop it here somewhere. The problem is then that you're going to be at 320 kilometers an hour when you come to the turn, and the AFK system is not capable of maintaining 320 kilometers an hour, whatever it is, in a turn which is level.
One question.
Sorry?
One question.
Yeah, I can't hear it very well though.
Okay, how many meters from the will you be? Excuse me.
Yeah, what is the distance? What is the distance? It's actually quite simple, okay?
Yeah, in meters distance. Yes.
Yeah, so basically, okay, so
Yeah,
here's
yeah.
what I, so this line here, what I just put out here, this line here, I would say is, let me do it red here so you can see it. That line, I would say, is approximately 2 kilometers, 1.5 maybe. Let's say it's 1.5 kilometer, okay? So it means that it's 1.5 times 1.4 to get to that point here. So it's 2 kilometers from the base. I mean, this distance here is approximately 2 kilometers. Approximately 2 kilometers.
You can say half a runway from.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. Or actually one runway. It's actually one runway. The runways are normally like 2 kilometers long.
Oh, yes, that's
yeah.
True.
So yeah, pretty much. But it's 45 degrees, and that will, if you keep the 45 degrees, it will be more or less correct. That's for sure.
Okay. Yes.
But that's a good question, actually.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, so I'll just do it like that. And also what you can do is in the turn, I mean, this is difficult to explain, but if you're in the turn here somewhere and you see that you're like getting wide, then you can, like, you're going to end up somewhere here, then you can just pull more. And if you, like, you can control so that you end up here, right? You can control your turn during the turn, and that is really something important. So with the AFK, it does get difficult because it's got a hard time keeping the speed with the gears out. I'm just saying that. So before going into entry points 2 and 3, I just want to say something about this then. Okay, so we have names for all these legs. Again, you're gonna say you're gonna call out these names when you're doing it, of course. So when you're on this side, or when you're entering, actually, when you're entering this, you're gonna say blah 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 blah, entering upwind. So flights Vegan blue, tour ship entering upwind for landing on runway, whatever. When you get to this point, before you turn into the turn, that's when you do the crosswind. And then once you get to the leg on the other side, you do the downwind. And before you start turning here, just before turning, you do the base. And finally, of course, final. So not very, very complicated, really, but you need to remember those. So if you're an aircraft and you're at, oops, sorry. So when you get to this point, you say flight blue, Vegan blue, entering upwind for landing on runway yada yada. Once you get, before you start the turn, over here, second. You say flight Vegan blue crosswind. You don't need to repeat what runway and such. Then flight Vegan blue downwind, flight Vegan blue base, and flight Vegan blue finals. And then just land. And once you landed, and once you've stopped or whatever you intend on doing, you turn off the runway. And once you turned off the runway, you say flight Vegan blue is off the runway, or runway is clear. Taxiing for, and then you say wherever you want to taxi, just as you did when you started.
Shall we do this in pass or shall we divide?
Say again, shall we do it in what?
In pass together, 1 and 2, or shall we divide?
Oh yeah, I think that we should do 2 and 2.
Yeah, okay. Then we
Yeah.
make a split up in the just before the crosswind. Yes, that's the way to do it.
We're going to land 2 and 2.
First, the number 1 turn first, and number 2 extend crosswind and turn then and go up.
No, we're going to land 2 and 2 in pairs. We're going to land on right and left runways at the same time.
Okay, that's another one. Okay.
Yeah, so we're going to land in pairs. So let me. Yeah.
On separate runways or on separate?
No, same runway, just on the left and right hand side of the middle line.
Okay.
And you can extend. You can extend like 300 meters or something. It's you can extend to 300 meters, but land like 2 and 2. so just like be in trail and do it together. And one takes the right hand side of runway, the other one takes left hand side of runway.
I promise that some parts will go wrong.
Oh, perfect. This is okay. Training is about going wrong. Okay, that's why we're doing this. It's to have fun and to mess up. Okay. Last thing on page 3 is if you enter from the south, well, then you actually enter crosswind. You don't do the whole upwind thing. Okay. If you enter from the east, well, then you don't do all the upwind and crosswind. You can actually enter directly on downwind. So in this case, you would set flight, Vigan Blue, tour ship entering from the east on downwind for immediate landing on runway, in this case 09, and then you just hope that nobody is on crosswind. And if somebody's on crosswind, that person's going to tell you no, don't do that, like abort or something like that. Okay, so you need to listen to each other. But these are the entry points for this pattern. Okay, page 4. And I put a lot of effort into this page, so I hope you enjoy it. So there's a lot of information on this one, and it's quite important, and it's also generic. It goes with almost every single aircraft out there, as long as you've got a HUD. So when you're on final, this is what you want to see. Okay, you want to see. Oops, sorry. First of all, you want to have the runway, the zebras on the runway, you want to have them just below halfway points between the 0 and -5 degrees lines. That places it on 3 degrees, right? So the runway, the actual zebra, the white bars where you're going to land on the runway, you want to place those just under 2.5 degrees on your HUD. Now on the Vigan, that's easy because you get an extra line exactly there. But in most aircraft, you don't get that. So you need to estimate this. On the Hornet, when you land on a carrier, you get the meatballs, which gives you the same information. Now, what you do get on most airports in DCS and also in real life are the lights on the side of the runway here, the poppy lights. And basically, if you see more red than white, then you're too low, and if you see more white than red, then you're too high. So if you see too red and too white, then you're okay, and that should place you pretty much as on this image. Okay. The next thing you want to do, and I haven't spoken about the FPM right now. I've only spoken about the zebras on the crossing and what you see on the lights. Okay. Now, once you have established this, then it's time to place the FPM marker, whatever it is. It's time to place it there too. So you want to have this. You want to end up in a condition where the FPM marker is where you want to land, with the zebra and the FPM and everything at 3 degrees and 2 whites and 2 reds. I think most of you people already know this. But at the same time, you also need to look at your AOA indexer or your AOA indication, however that works in your aircraft. This is different from different aircrafts, and the Viggen doesn't work like this at all. The Hornet has the E bracket, which is the same thing but more precise. But basically, it shows you if you need to slow down or speed up. It doesn't show you anything else. But so you need to achieve all of what's in the center of the image, and at the same time, you want to have only the center light lit up. You don't want to have the other lit up. So you only want to have that one lit up. If the green one turns on, it means that you're that you're too fast, you need to slow down. And if the red one is lit up, you're too slow, you need to speed up. Okay? So the game here is to rebuild what you're seeing right now on this image. And if you carry this until you land, the aircraft is going to land itself. You don't need to do anything about it. So this is just a quick note about the HUD in landing modes. Questions, comments? Everybody knew this, right?
Yeah.
Okay, page 5. This training today is also about a two-ship formation. Okay, so we're going to try and switch who's lead and who's wingman, and we're going to try and make it so that we can actually reform on each other and try and find each other. This is an image which J34 did earlier today, which I just enhanced a little bit with a little bit of graphics. And basically, there's nothing wrong with it at all. It's self-explanatory. So actually, I want to change one color here. The blue line is where you're coming from or where you're going, and the green line is where you're looking. Okay. And basically, you don't go where you're looking when you see information, and you try and be somewhere around 30 to 45 degrees behind the aircraft. The exact distance depends a little bit on tactics and aircraft and a lot of things, but I would say a comfortable distance, somewhere where the lead isn't like a dot, and also you need to be at a distance where you can look somewhere else for 5 seconds or 4 seconds without losing control, like sight of the person in front of you. So I would say like 200, 300 meters is a comfortable distance normally. Everything else that is on the right-hand side here, I crossed out because it's not part of this training today. Today we're going to try and just find one another and stay information with one another. That's all we're going to do. We're not going to do any tactics or anything like that. Just like stay together, try and find each other, okay? The part here is quite interesting, and basically it's always easier to follow if you're on the outside. So if the lead declares it's going to turn left, well, you can reform on the right side, especially when you're a two-ship, which we are today. So you can always strive to go to the outside and stay there, which is easier for a lot of things like attacks and just general navigation and such, okay? So remember that. Don't try to stay on the inside if you don't need to.
That's what you learn on the flight school. Don't go on the inside when you go into formation. It's to avoid collision that you go out on the other side. And notice you have the same speed, and you have this enslinje, the line from the one going to catch up is keeping. When I flew the Vampire in the Air Force, it was keep the wing tip on the aircraft's nose and keep it there all the time, same speed, turning, and you will have a very nice, smooth going into your lead, and then go out to the right side in this case when you do this. That's what we learned.
Yeah, exactly. So if you go to the next page, page 6, That's really what it's about. Okay, so I explained this in a different way, but it's the same thing. So if you do what's on the right hand side here, then you're going to fail. Okay, so this is something which people do all the time playing Sims when they're trying to reform. So you're the yellow one, you're trying to reform the green one. The green one is doing like perfect circles, so it's not difficult to join. But since you're always aiming at the nose of the aircraft, your turn is going to be tighter and tighter and tighter, and you're going to be at this, like in the first circumstance here, the angle between you and the lead was like 30 degrees, and when you're up here, you're at 90 degrees, because you're chasing the nose of the lead aircraft. So don't do that. Don't chase the nose of the lead aircraft. What you need to do is you need to relax a little bit, like as on the right hand side. So when you're over here at the first position, well, aim at the point which is behind the lead. Don't aim at the lead. Aim at the point behind the lead. Once you get, and since you're on a tighter circle, you're going to approach anyway. Okay, so once you're here, you're going to be closer, but you can still aim at a point behind the lead. And continuing this purple circle here, you're going to end up in a position which is the third position here. And you can still, and in this case, you're so close and you're so well aligned that you can start to aim at the rear of the lead, as he said, the J34. Aim somewhere like 30, 40 meters behind him, and you're going to be fine.
Well, you see these two pictures here. The left side, that's a not proper way to do it. That's
No, exactly.
That's a dog curve. That's
Yeah, exactly.
That's what a dog do when it's hunting another dog. He's
Yeah, exactly.
right on all the time. But I think you said aim behind. No, aim ahead. You have on the right side there. You have the nose ahead of the one the lead all the time, ahead. Otherwise, you don't come in. You can't be back. You must be ahead of the lead.
If you do a lead pursuit, if you do a lead pursuit, you're gonna add angles. You're gonna be in a tighter and a tighter and a tighter turn.
Yeah, but you have the first picture there. You are aiming behind, but the next position you are aiming ahead of the lead, and that takes you in.
Excuse me.
You are on the line there, wing to
here. I mean, if you are in lead pursuit, but at the same.
I can't hear you, Maggot.
Oh, sorry. Do you hear me now?
Yeah.
Or if you don't, you need to factor in speed here. If you have the same speed and you try to have a lead pursuit, won't you like float in behind?
If you have the same speed, yes. No. Well,
because on
no, you can look.
Picture,
if you try with your hands, you hold the same hands at the same time. You're adding like in the first. Yeah. So okay. If the lead isn't turning, then you're right. Then you can aim ahead. But if the lead is turning, then you can't.
Yeah, you must aim ahead even in the turn. Otherwise, you never come in.
Yeah.
You must have your nose ahead of him. Otherwise, you don't come in. And then you can do it with the same speed. And then you don't get this when you come with 900 and the lead has 600.
Yeah, I know that. I'm not. Yeah, exactly. Of course.
And the main thing is that when you aim ahead of the lead, you are flying a tighter, shorter curve than the lead, and then you gain distance.
Position. Yeah, absolutely.
But if you are back of the lead, you never come in. Then you have to increase speed.
I know what you mean. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, sure. So what you're saying is, let me just, and actually you're of course you're right. So basically here you're aiming there, right?
Yes.
Okay, so that would be like that. The second position, you would have crossed like the same speeds. You would have the same you would have had the same distance. Sorry, you will have traveled the same distance, and you just need to move that out of the way.
Yes, that's right.
Okay, so you're gonna aim somewhere ahead, and since you've been turning, you're gonna be the same distance is about there, and you're gonna be in a turn. So, boom, boom, boom. hang on a second, I just screwed it up. Okay, like that. And this is where I don't, this is where it doesn't compute for me. You see, the difference in angle between these two is too great.
Yeah, that's not correct. That's not correct. You should not be nearly 90 degrees.
But I'm aiming ahead. Here I'm aiming ahead. I'm aiming like.
Yeah, but the main thing is if you don't aim ahead, you have to have more speed.
Yes,
and then it's
of course.
more difficult to come in.
Yes.
But if the lead say, I'm turning 500 meters, 550, and we'll say 30, 45 degrees bank, you have to have your nose ahead of the lead. Otherwise, never come in.
Yes, absolutely.
That's it.
Well, let's try it and let's debrief.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I believe that you still need to have a smooth turn, not like in the first picture.
No, exactly. Absolutely.
No, not 5G. That's not good. But maybe 30, 45 degrees bank. And keep
thing
the
here
speed.
is because this
I don't think we come any further.
No, we can't get any further on this one, but never mind. Okay, so yeah, let's skip that for now. Okay, so but basically, going back to the previous image, try and aim ahead and try and keep the speed and see if you can join. Okay, now going on picture 7, we're going to go into the mission. There are 3 different missions, so to speak. They're not very complicated. Blue, green, and red. Okay, they're all the same distance. They have all the same kind of difficulty, or there's no difference in that. Okay, and there are more than one flight in each. So in blue, there are 2 flights. There's a flight alpha and beta. In green, there are 2 flights alpha and beta. In red, there are 3 flights alpha, beta, gamma. And all the flights are 2 ships. And I know that after first attack, the buildings, the targets are going to be destroyed. Pick something else, okay? It's not important. So what here is that you take off from Tbilisi, you fly to the first waypoint, which is just northwest of Tbilisi, and there is split. So blue flight will head to the north and to a lake, then turn clockwise to an IP point, and then they attack on waypoint 4, and then the egress point on waypoint 5, and a regrouping point on waypoint 6, and then landing waypoint 7. And the same thing for the other ones. There's no difference in the layout of the different missions. They're all the same. If you look on page 8, the target for blue is a bridge, and to the okay, that's wrong. Hang on a second. That's better. To the east, there is a small group of vehicles which are not very dangerous, but they can fire it's like IVs and such and BMPs. Okay, it's a small group of vehicles, but the bridge is the main target. Flight green. They have a factory with the group of targets just on the other side of a small river. Actually, turned this the wrong way again. I just realized. Like that. And red have a bridge in Gori. There are several bridges, so you're going to have fun. But that's the main bridge, which is the target, the intended target, which is just close to the stadium. You see that on the image, the stadium. And the group of vehicles are to the north. So that's it, okay?
Great.
I will not be flying. I will be looking at what's happening. And basically, I will try and listen in on what you do on the airport. And if I see somebody doing something obvious, like moving without having a declared that they're taxing or something, then I'm just going to comment on that. But basically, this is up to you guys to have fun, enjoy it, and try and think of each other, take care of each other. I mean, that's the whole idea here. Be predictive and be clear.
Right.
One question. The blue, what was the target there?
It's a bridge in the orange.
Bridge also. Okay.
Yeah, it's a bridge in the orange losange there, or square. Yeah.
And what do we have for armament?
Oh, you've got bombs. You have all the flights have free fall bombs. So CSIP with free fall bombs, and then if you want to do a level delivery, or if you want to do a pop-up or something else, that's up to you, entirely up to you. And if you don't hit the bridge, it doesn't matter. Hit something else, it doesn't matter to me. It's just that that's where the waypoint is. Okay, the waypoints are the target waypoints are exactly on the different targets.
Okay.
All right.
Can I ask something?
Yes, of course you can.
How about the radio? What are we using? What kind of radio frequencies? And
Yeah, I'm going to start my DCS here, and I'm going to try and so we're going to try and use SRS.
Okay.
Shall we divide in groups first?
Yeah, you need to be two and two in SRS. So you're going to have different frequencies per flight.
So I must ask, I've never used SRS in the Viggen. Do you use the manual frequency and just turn the frequency when you change and speak to your wingman, or how does it work? When you change the frequency.
Yeah, so you've got two radios. The problem is I haven't really thought this through. You have two radios, and what is the frequency of the default radio, Salsam? Of the
124.3 or something, isn't it?
I think if we do a common on 123, and then everyone chooses the minus and do a manual dial in on a preset, or sorry, just choose one. Lost the word. The frequency, and then you can use that.
But okay, one thing, guys. Here, we are going to transmit when we taxi, when we are base leg, when we land, and so then we can't be on different frequencies.
Yeah, we can be on. We transmit all those movements on 123 alpha mic on radio 22, and then we can do the radio 24 for internal or wingman talk.
If you want to do if you want to do easier, what we can do is we can create more rooms here, so we have enough rooms like groups, and then we can just you can place yourselves with the wingman in a group here in Discord and have that chat, and then only use SRS for common communication if you want to do that. That's also
very good idea.
And there are enough rooms here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 rooms. So I mean, there are enough rooms. So
it might be a good idea to practice with the SRS, but maybe it will create problems in this.
Yeah.
So it's easier to, yeah.
Exactly. So try and
Okay, I have installed. I have mapped it in the Viggen, but I think I have some to have some guidance about the SRS here.
We can do that once you like. We can help you. Me and
fine.
Martin, we can help you.
Yeah,
But we need to.
And you help us. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's exactly it. Yeah.
All right.
So pick a. So basically, there are 1, 2, 3, 4 flights of Viggens. So 8 Viggens in total. There are 2 F-18s, 2 Mirages, 2 Su-25s.
What's the name of the server?
VSA.
VSA. Okay. And what's the?
Say again, please.
137. Like everybody's favorite. I'm going to try and launch SRS in multi-mode, so I can in AWACS mode. So who's flying with whom? Who wants to fly what, and who's flying with whom? You need to find
Some with sets flying 25T.
Okay, so go and pick a room downstairs.
Group C.
And you, Sugar, you want to fly F-18s?
Pagden is Blue Alpha 2.
Okay. So who wants to fly with Pagden?
Scan Fox, you're Blue Alpha 1?
Yep.
Okay, so go to a room, pick VSA Group 1A or something.
Paris Green Alpha 1.
I might join you if I can join the server. I can't spot it in the list.
Yeah, that's strange. You have the right version.
But it's still in pause.
Yeah, it's okay. So you can unpause the game if you wanna.
Yeah,
Martin.
but he cannot even find it.
Axel, går du till grupp A?
Ja, jag ligger på grupp A här. Tror.
Nisse, hoppar du till grupp B?
Ja, men jag kommer in här.
Nej, jag tänkte på Discorden så länge.
Checking in 1 2 3. 1 2 3. Is anybody listening on 1 2 3 AM?
Are you on SRS or what is the SRS server?
Say again?
Does it auto-connect to SRS or do we need a server for that?
Yeah, you need a server. You need to input the NOSIG server. Hang on a second.
Oh.
So you need to add. Oh, sorry. Jesus. Hang on a second. Ah, no. I screwed up. Hang on a second. You need to connect to this. Coming in here on text. That's all you need.
Right. Yeah.
Do I have to put in the frequency in this stupid window here? In the beginning?
No, you need to press the minus key on the radio 22.
Yes,
on
I
the
did.
top, yeah. And then you need to change with the knobs on the above your left knee to 12300.
Yeah, that's the stupid things that I can't. It goes around everywhere. This is not good. I have 108.45 now.
Schubert, are you here?
No, I can't get that to 123.
Hang on a second. Can you go to can we go to VSA meeting room? You and I?
J34.
Yes.
Okay.
Here in the Discord. You know?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
I'm there. I'm Discord.
I think you need to. You're in VSA training. You have to go to the other VSA meeting room. It's a special channel.
Green group, is that B group?
VSA meeting room. Okay.
Blue Alpha 2 is reading you 5 by 5. Okay, Blue Alpha 1, radio check 1, 2, 3, 4, how do you read me? Blue Alpha 2 is reading you 5 by 5. Okay, you have a strength 1, but it's okay. Okay, Blue Alpha 1 and 2 starting up engine.
Vad ska ni flyga för något?
And remote tarmac. Blue Alpha 1, confirm main frequency on ground is 123.1 to 3.0. Ja, nu provar jag 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3 funkar jättebra för henne. Så du hörde mig inte på disco då alltså? Okej. Okej, det hörde också så att det verkar vara 1, 2, 3.0 som är main frequency on ground. Blue Alpha 2 radio check on frequency. Blue Alpha 2, radio 5 by 5. 1 left. After takeoff, intention frequency 254. That's affirmative. Engine start. Speaking, Green Bravo 1, engine start.
Tjena Martin.
Position Echo in 10 seconds. Vegan Green 1, apron 5, taxiing for runway 31 left via Delta Charlie Echo. And Blue Alpha 1, lighting up runway 31 left. We're at the same too, huh? Truck with one starting engine. Okej, då var det någon annan som taxade med huvudet ute då så. Ja. Ja, jag stänger av bilspårssnacket. And Blue Alpha 1 rolling runway 31. Left, leaving heading north. Change to frequency 264. Active runway. Number 31 left. 31 left. Queen Vegan. Vegan Green Bravo 1, holding point 31 left. Negative, that's 31 right. That's a close runway. Progress, next runway. ejecting. Please call. Please call in road crash and rescue. Thank you. For information, he ejected just at point 1 and Blue Alpha 1 training there. Cobra 1 or question, yes, how many on aircraft? Testing 123 AM for G34. Green Alpha starting ambulance. Testing 123 AM for flight green, I think. Read back here. 400. Frankfurt lining up and runway 31 left for takeoff. Blue constant. Alpha 1 question. Go ahead. wingman?
No, I lost him a while ago. He disconnected. He said nothing, it didn't work, and then I don't know what happened. I really don't know what happened. If he disconnected or something. He said that the SRS wasn't working, and I was trying to help him, and then he disconnected without answering. So I don't know what happened.
Yeah, he got a computer failure and just left and ejected.
Okay. Blue Beta 2, we're taxiing to runway 31 left through Delta Echo Charlie.
Blue Beta 1, cox check.
Blue Beta working.
Vi saknar en green gruppen här.
Okej, vem saknar ni?
Ja, vi har en kollista. Vi återkommer.
Kontakt.
Training field, Blue Alpha 1, 500 meters, Blue kilometers out for upwind runway 31 left. Wind holding short, 31 left. The one leaving airport airspace heading north on continent. Taxi Delta Charlie Echo 1 right, shortly crosswind.
Sorry.
Alpha 1 turning downwind 31 left. Alpha 1, base leg runway 31 left. Alpha 1, leaving runway 3, but there is an obstruction about 800 meters from runway end. Aircraft wreck. Don't go into it. På svenska, det är sån här skräp från någon Viggen eller ett annat flygplan.
Ja, det var visst en Viggen som förolyckades där borta för en stund sedan. Who's on final?
On final.
Who's on final?
Queen Bravo 1.
You need to report your base legs and everything. You didn't report any legs, so I wasn't aware you were in the pattern.
If you would have listened, you would have heard. But then you guys started talking about the wreck, and I can't get through. So I reported my crosswind and my downwind, but then the radio was busy.
Okay, so that's one note. You need to wait to speak. You can't speak on the radio, it's busy. Yeah, okay, fine. Okay, green flight, data, taking position on 31 left for immediate takeoff. second, and wingman has aborted his takeoff run or left the crater behind.
Intention after shutdown. Any suggestion?
Take a new aircraft and redo everything? Or stick on same aircraft and just reload and go take off again?
And looking for a wingman. Alpha, are you in front of me? after takeoff, take frequency 264 AM.
Kan du höra mig där, NOSIG? Han har stängt av både mikrofon och lur i Discord. Ja, här begriper jag ingenting av. Han står stilla framför mig här, va? Är det någon som hör mig överhuvudtaget?
Delta flight 2 begins entering a landing path turn from
Green Alpha 1 circling around on the runway.
Joining upwind.
Alpha 1, watch out. Waiting. Near collision on the taxiway.
Är det någon som kan höra J34?
Ja, jag hör det jättebra. Hörde vackra skånska.
Ja, det är inte så långt emellan oss.
Ja, från Blue Alpha 1 request fire brigade to the taxiway. We have a vegan upside down.
Is runway 31 right open?
Hopefully so.
Okay, so flight green is going to take runway 31 right for approach.
you had information about the wreckage and rescue personnel to the taxiway at Delta Charlie intersection.
Why respond on 15 seconds?
Please say again.
The rescue guys, a response for you in less than 15 seconds.
Frequency.
Blue Delta to begins entering downwind. Blue Delta entering crosswind.
From Blue Alpha 1, confirm we are two-ship flight. Two-ship flight. Copy.
Blue Delta entering downwind.
Lars, what frequency are you sending on for your private channel? Frequency 264. Alfa 2 och Alfa 3 är på 264.
Blue Beta. Entering final.
Okay, Blue Alpha 1 leaving.
Green Beta, hold position, hold position. Green Beta, hold position.
Ja, då.
Skamfox är nedanför grupp B. Ser du det?
Ja, jag startade med dem nu, men vi har ju ingen radiokontakt med varandra så jag vet inte vad han gjorde nu för någonting.
Men han pratar, okej, jag hörde honom på radio, okej. Ja.
Ja, jag flyger på min navigering här själv så får de göra vad de vill. Jag vet inte var han tog vägen.
Nej.
Jag var med och plötsligt var han borta. Men det var ett väldigt hoppande på taxibanan. Han som körde framför mig, han hoppade fram och tillbaka. Ett par gånger trodde jag han skulle hoppa på mig.
Ja, okay.
Men jag kom i luften i alla fall nu.
Ja, bra.
Fint.
du mig?
Alfa från norr, hör du mig?
Han växlar ut till 264. Lars.
Ja, jag hör dig på 123 nu.
Hector, du hör när jag pratar nu.
Kan vi gå över till 200? Alpha, frequency 264. upgrade runway 31 left at Hello, Alpha 1 crosswind, runway 31 left. Det är inte lätt det här inte.
Practice good skills.
Ja, precis. Downway kul, sen blir det base flag och så blir det final va?
Ja. Downwind by
Hello Alpha. Hello Alpha 1 turning base flag over 31 left, extension
try to land.
Alpha 3, I think I have some problem with one of the tires on the left side. Leaving runway 31 left. No Alpha 1 trying to make a short landing. Jag ligger på lång final. Jag missade banan här så att jag gör en lång final. Blue Alpha 1 long final runway 31 left, trying to make a short landing. Blue Alpha 1 on short final. approach, 2 Bravo.